When your cat hears you say their name, do you actually know what's happening inside their brain? Most people assume it's just a trained response, like a dog learning sit. Just repetition, reward, habit. But behind that slow blink, that subtle ear flick, that quiet pause before they look up, there's something most cat owners completely miss. It's one of the most scientifically fascinating things your cat does every single day. And if you keep assuming it's random or meaningless, which most owners do, you might be living with a creature that understands you far more deeply than you've ever realized. Let's start with the word your cat knows better than any other. Point 1. The debunk, their own name. Picture this. You're in the kitchen. You say your cat's name. Maybe it's Machi. Maybe it's Shadow. And they don't move. Don't look up. Just sit there. And most people think, they're ignoring me. Cats just don't listen. Here's what's actually happening. In 2019, researchers at Sophia University in Tokyo published a landmark study in the journal Scientific Reports. They played recordings of 4 different words, similar in length and sound to the cat's name, followed by the actual name. And what they found was striking. Cats showed measurable responses to their own names. Ear rotations, head turns, tail movement, even when the voice wasn't their owner's. They're not ignoring you. They're choosing whether to respond. Think about that for a second. Your cat hears you, recognizes the specific sound pattern of their name among all other words, and then makes a decision. That's not a pet that doesn't understand you. That's a creature with selective social awareness, the same kind humans use every day in crowded rooms when we tune in to the sound of our own name. The difference between a dog and a cat isn't understanding. It's that your cat has agency, and that changes everything about how you should interpret their silence. Coming up, we'll talk about a word that carries even more emotional weight than their name. And it's one you say dozens of times a day without realizing it. Point 2. The science. No. Here's one most people don't expect. You say no to your cat. Maybe they're on the counter again. Maybe they're knocking something off the shelf, probably on purpose. And you say it firmly, no, and for a second, they stop. The common assumption is that they're just reacting to your tone, like a startled reflex. But behavioral scientists have observed something more nuanced. Cats are exquisitely sensitive to prosodic cues, the rhythm, pitch, and emotional energy embedded in human speech. A sharp, short word like no registers not just as sound, but as an emotional signal. Research from the University of Tokyo and subsequent work in animal cognition has shown that domestic cats are uniquely adapted, through thousands of years of cohabitation with humans, to read emotional states through voice. They distinguish between calm and distressed human speech, between invitation and warning. What makes this even more meaningful is this. Your cat isn't just hearing no. They're reading you, your stress, your frustration, your fear, which means every time you raise your voice in their presence, even if it's not directed at them, they're processing it, filing it away, updating their emotional model of your relationship. That's not a small thing. That's intimacy. Point 3. The scent/territory angle. Here or come. You've probably called your cat over, patted the couch cushion, said, "Come here," in your warmest voice. Sometimes they come. Sometimes they stare at you like you've personally offended them. The assumption is stubbornness, independence, classic cat behavior. But here's what's actually happening beneath the surface, and it goes deeper than sound. When you consistently use a specific word or phrase in a specific location, you are, without realizing it, creating what behaviorists call a conditioned spatial vocal anchor. That spot on the couch, that corner of the bed, it carries your scent, your warmth, and now, your voice. Cats navigate the world primarily through scent and territorial mapping. When a familiar voice consistently emanates from a scent-marked safe zone, the word and the place fuse into a single emotional signal, safety. So when your cat does come, when they hear "come here" and actually respond, they're not just following a command. They're moving toward a place that smells like you, sounds like you, and feels like security. And when they don't come, sometimes the territory itself is the issue. If that spot has changed, new furniture, new smell, new energy, the anchor breaks. You're not just training your cat with words. You're building emotional geography. Point 4. The evolutionary/maternal connection. Hey, or soft greetings. This one is quiet, easy to overlook, but it might be the most emotionally loaded point in this entire video. When you walk into a room and say something soft, hey, hi baby, even just a gentle sound, and your cat chirps back, or trills, or makes that tiny little MRRP noise. Most people smile and move on. They think it's cute. A greeting, nothing more. But what you just witnessed has roots that go back to the very first weeks of a cat's life. Mother cats communicate with their kittens almost exclusively through vocalizations. Soft trills, chirps, short, rising sounds that mean, I'm here, you're safe, follow me. Adult cats, in the wild, almost never vocalize to each other. Meowing is largely a behavior that domestic cats developed specifically for humans. It's a language they invented for us. So when your cat hears your soft greeting and responds with that small, tender sound, they are using the language of maternal safety, the language of home. They're not just saying hello. They're saying, you are my safe place. You are my person. Think about that for a second. Every time you've walked through your door and your cat called back to you, they were reaching for the deepest emotional vocabulary they have. Point 5. The selective behavior, their nickname. Here's something fascinating. You probably don't call your cat by their full name all the time. You've developed a nickname. Maybe 2 or 3. Bubs, Little Monster, Sir Fluffington, something ridiculous that you'd never say in public. And your cat responds to it. This is selective acoustic imprinting. Your cat has mapped not just one sound to your voice, but a cluster of sounds, all tied to the same emotional signature. Your particular tone when you're relaxed, affectionate, playful. They don't respond to the word itself. They respond to the emotional fingerprint attached to it. What makes this even more meaningful is what it reveals about memory. Cats have associative long-term memory that is deeply tied to emotional experience. They remember not just what you say, but how you felt when you said it. Your cat has built a portrait of you, not from logic, from feeling. Point 6. The ultimate revelation. I love you. This is the one. You've probably said it. Maybe you feel a little silly saying it. I love you to a cat. And here's what's actually happening when you do. Your cat doesn't understand the words, but they understand everything around them. The slowdown in your voice, the drop in pitch, the way your body softens, the eye contact that lingers just a moment longer than usual, the slow blink that follows naturally. That slow blink. Researchers call it a positive emotional cue exchange. A 2020 study published in Scientific Reports by Dr. Karen McComb at the University of Sussex found that cats respond to slow blinking from humans and are more likely to approach a human who slow blinks at them. When you say, I love you, to your cat, you almost certainly slow blink. You soften. You become, in every measurable behavioral way, the safest version of yourself. And your cat sees all of it. They may not know the words, but they know you, the real you, the unguarded you. And they chose to stay. We started with something simple, your cat hearing their name and choosing not to respond. And what we found underneath that silence is something extraordinary. A creature that has spent thousands of years learning the sound of human emotion, who built a language just to talk to us, who maps the world through our voices and our scent and our warmth. Your cat doesn't understand English, but they understand you, maybe better than most people in your life do. The next time you walk in and they call back to you, the next time they come to the spot on the couch where your voice always lives, the next time you whisper something soft and they slow blink back, remember what that actually is. It's not cute. It's not random. It's love, spoken in the only language they know. And they learned it for you. Subscribe, watch next, comment your cat's name below.